Welcome to the deep dive. Before we jump into today's topic, I just wanted to remind everyone to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss an episode.
Sounds good.
All right, so today we're going deep into a period of Indian history that's, no, it's packed with drama and intrigue.
Yeah, you could say that.
Empires clashing, shifting alliances, all centered on one symbolic prize.
Oh, then what's that?
That prize was the city of Kannauj.
Oh, I like it.
It's a tripartite struggle, folks.
Ooh, very dramatic.
And this deep dive, it's perfect for anyone prepping for the UPSC, especially that GS1 history section on early medieval India.
Definitely lots to learn here.
But even if you're not studying for exams this period,
Yeah.
it's key to understanding how India evolved into the nation we know today.
It really is foundational.
So picture this. 3 powerful dynasties, all vying for control of Kannauj.
Yeah, it was like the Iron Throne of its time, right?
Exactly. It wasn't just about territory. It was about prestige, power, and the legacy of empires.
Huge.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're talking about the 8th and 9th centuries CE, just after the Gupta Empire. One of India's golden ages had started to decline.
Right, the Guptas, they'd been around for centuries.
But as they say, nature abhors a vacuum.
True that.
And this political vacuum paved the way for new players to step onto the stage.
Well, absolutely. And it's here we see the rise of the Palace Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas,
The 3 contenders in our tripartite struggle.
each one bringing something unique to the table.
So let's break down these empires one by one.
All right, let's do it.
For our UPSC aspirants, this is where you might want to take some notes.
Get those pens ready.
First up,
Yeah.
the palace. They were based in the eastern regions of Bengal and Bihar, right? What made them stand out?
Yep, the Palas were major players in the East. And you know what really distinguished them? Their strong Buddhist focus. They established these incredible centers of learning, Vikramshila University, the Grand Buddhist Monastery at Gaya. Just imagine all that vibrant intellectual and artistic activity.
It's amazing how empires leave their mark, not just through conquests, but through their cultural impact.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got the Palas with their Buddhist focus.
Mm.
Next, we have the Pratiharas. Now, they were located more centrally, weren't they?
Yes, the Pratiharas, they were a force to be reckoned with in central and northern India, and their stronghold was in the Avanti region.
Got it. And what made them stand out from the Palas?
Military power, pure and simple. They were known as fierce warriors and brilliant strategists. They even earned the title Rana Hastina, meaning Lords of War.
Lords of War. That has a nice ring to it.
Doesn't it?
It makes sense, though. They were instrumental in repelling Arab invasions, right?
Right. So you've got the Palas making waves with their Buddhist focus and the Pratiharas flexing their military muscle.
Who's our third contender in this historical tug of war?
Ah.
Okay, so our third power player hails from the Deccan and central India, the Rashtrakutas. And they brought something different to the table. They were master builders.
No, really. What did they build?
You name it. But their crowning achievement has got to be the Kailash Temple at Ellora. Hold on. The Kailash Temple. That's the one carved out of a single rock, isn't it?
The one and only. It's breathtaking. It's a testament to their engineering genius and artistic vision. I mean, can you imagine the manpower and skill it took to carve an entire temple out of solid rock?
Yeah, that's mind-blowing. It's like their ambition was literally carved into the landscape of India.
I like that.
So we've got these 3 powerhouses, Palas, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas. But before we dive into the actual clashes, I gotta ask, why was everyone so fixated on Kannauj? What made this city the ultimate prize?
Great question. Kannauj wasn't just any city. It was strategically and symbolically vital. Whoever ruled Kannauj controlled the fertile Gangetic plains. They controlled key trade routes. It was like holding the heartland of ancient India.
So controlling Kannauj meant controlling the resources and the wealth of the region.
Exactly. And then there's the symbolic aspect. Kannauj, it was associated with the legacy of past empires, you know, the Guptas and others. It carried a certain weight of history and authority.
So it's like I said earlier, the Iron Throne. It wasn't just about the land itself. It was about the message it sent. We are the inheritors of this legacy. We are the dominant power.
Exactly.
It's fascinating how a single city could become such a focal point in history.
It really is.
But before we get into all the battles and the drama, how do we even know about all this? I mean, we're talking about events that happened over 1,000 years ago. What are our sources?
Well, that's one of the most exciting parts of studying this period. We have this amazing mix of sources to work with. Inscriptions like the Ellora record of Danti Durga, a Rashtrakuta king, and the Gwalior Prashasti, which glorifies the Pratiharas.
So it's like looking through a window into the past.
Exactly. And These inscriptions, they're not just dry historical records. They give us glimpses into how these rulers wanted to be perceived, their ambitions, their achievements.
It's like reading their ancient PR campaigns.
Right.
Yeah.
But we also have literary works like Kahana's Raja Taranjini, which chronicles the history of Kashmir, a region very close to the Pratiharas.
So we get different perspectives on the same events.
Right. And sometimes these texts even criticize the rulers they're writing about. It's not all just praise and glory.
That's really interesting. It's like getting a more balanced view of history.
Exactly.
And then we have accounts from Arab travelers who journeyed through India during this time.
Imagine that. Getting first-hand accounts from outsiders.
It's like having multiple cameras capturing the same event from different angles. It gives us such a rich understanding of what was going on.
It really does. It highlights the importance of considering multiple perspectives when studying history.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've set the stage. We've got three powerful dynasties, each with their own motivations, all eyeing the prize of Kannauj. I'm ready for the fireworks to begin. When does the first major clash occur?
Well, the first major clash happens around 790 CE. Picture the scene. The Pala king Dharmapala and the Pratihara ruler Vatsaraja, two powerful figures locked in a struggle for dominance at Prayaga. That's the site of the modern-day city of Allahabad.
Okay, so it's the Palasas versus the Pratiharas. Round one of a historical showdown. Who emerges victorious from this initial clash?
In this early round, the Pratiharas, led by Vatsaraja, they gain the upper hand. But just as they're savoring their victory, there's a twist. A third player enters the arena, the Rashtrakuta king Dhruva. He swoops in from the Deccan, disrupting the balance of power and preventing a clear victor.
Talk about a game changer. It's like suddenly a new character has entered the Game of Thrones, changing all the alliances and strategies. So what happens to Dhruva? Does he stick around and try to seize Kannauj for himself?
Dhruva's appearance, it was strategic. He had other conflicts brewing back in his own territory, so he couldn't afford to get bogged down in a prolonged struggle for Kannauj. But his intervention, it had a significant impact. It created an opportunity for Dharmapala, the Pala king, to regroup and make a bold move.
So with Dhruva out of the picture for the moment, Dharmapala sees his chance to seize control. What does he do?
Dharmapala was a shrewd strategist. He installed a puppet ruler in Kannauj, extending his influence over the city without directly ruling it. This allowed him to project power and claim a degree of control over the coveted Iron Throne. He even launched a series of military expeditions, expanding his authority across northern India. For a while, he was the undisputed Lord of the North.
So Dharmapala wasn't just content with Kannauj. He had his sights set on a much wider dominion, ambitious guy. But I can't imagine the Pratiharas just sat back and watched their hard-won gains slip away.
You're absolutely right. The Pratiharas, under the leadership of Nagabhadata II, they were not ones to back down from a challenge. They launched a counteroffensive, determined to reclaim their lost territory and reassert their dominance. This period, it becomes a whirlwind of major battles, shifting alliances and unexpected turns of fortune. It was a time of tremendous instability and political maneuvering.
This is where the Game of Thrones analogy really comes to life. Betrayals, alliances, and constant power struggles. It must have been incredibly challenging to navigate this political landscape.
It certainly was a time of great upheaval and uncertainty. And just when it seemed like the Pallas and Pratiharas were settling into a pattern of conflict, the Rashtrakutas, led by Govinda III, Dhruva's son, they re-enter the scene, Govinda III. He was a formidable ruler in his own right. He launched a military campaign that took him all the way to northern India, even managing to capture Kannauj for a brief period.
Wow, so all three dynasties, the Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas, they actually managed to control Kannauj at different points during this struggle. That's incredible. But who ultimately comes out on top? Does anyone manage to establish lasting control over Kannauj and put an end to this conflict?
The Pratiharas, under the leadership of Nagabhata II, they eventually regained control of Kannauj and established themselves as the dominant power in northern India. However, it's crucial to remember that this prolonged conflict, it took a toll on all three empires. Their constant struggle for dominance, it weakened them, paving the way for future upheavals and changes in the political landscape.
It's like the old saying, when elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. Even though the Pratiharas emerged victorious, everyone involved paid a price for this relentless struggle for power. But here's what I find really interesting. The tripartite struggle. It wasn't just about political power plays and military conquests. It had a profound cultural impact as well.
You've hit on a crucial point. It's fascinating how periods of conflict can also be periods of incredible cultural flourishing. This era saw the rise of distinct architectural styles, a reflection of the unique identities of these empires. The Pratiharas favored the Nagara style, known for its towering shikaras and intricate carvings, while the Palas embraced the Bangla style, characterized by its curved roofs and decorative terracotta work. And, of course, the Rashtrakutas left their legacy in the awe-inspiring rock-cut temples of the Deccan, like the Kailash Temple at Ellora.
It's like this intense competition spurred a kind of creative explosion. They were vying for power, but they were also leaving behind these incredible cultural legacies. What other cultural developments emerged from this period?
Think of it like a cultural tapestry being woven with threads from different regions. Regional languages like Kannada and Bengali flourished during this era, developing their own unique literary traditions. This period also witnessed a revival of Sanskrit literature, with scholars and poets producing works that celebrated the values and achievements of their respective cultures.
So even amidst the chaos and conflict, there was this incredible dynamism in art, architecture, and literature. It's a reminder that history is never just one simple story. It's a complex web of events, influences, and consequences.
Absolutely. And this is what makes studying history so enriching. We gain insights not just into the past, but into the very forces that shaped our world today.
Speaking of insights, I know our UPSC aspirants are listening intently, eager to grasp the key takeaways for their exams. What are the essential points they should focus on when studying the tripartite struggle?
For those prepping for the GS1 history section, the tripartite struggle is a must-know topic. You need a firm grasp of the chronology, the key players, the major battles. Pay close attention to those sources we talked about earlier: inscriptions, literary works, foreign accounts. They offer valuable clues about the political and cultural landscape of the time.
And don't forget those cultural developments, the different architectural styles, the rise of regional languages, all key aspects of this period.
Exactly. It wasn't just about political power. It was a time of dynamic exchange and innovation.
Right. So we've covered a lot of ground: the rise of three powerful dynasties, their fight for Kannauj, and the cultural explosion that happened in the midst of all that conflict. But before we wrap up, I want to do a little historical what-if thinking.
Ooh, I like this game.
What if one of the other empires had managed to consolidate power and create a truly unified India? How would history have unfolded differently?
It's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it? Imagine if the Palas, with their Buddhist focus, had established a pan-Indian empire. Would we see a very different cultural and religious landscape today? Or what about the Rashtrakutas, with their incredible building skills? What if their dominion had spread beyond the Deccan? Would their style of architecture be more prominent across the subcontinents?
These what-if scenarios, they really highlight those turning points in history, how even small events or decisions could have had a huge impact on the future.
It really makes you think about how easily things could have gone in a completely different direction.
It does. So this deep dive has been an incredible journey through a pivotal period of Indian history. Three powerful dynasties, the Palas Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas. Their struggle for Kannauj left a lasting mark on India's political and cultural landscape.
And to our UPSC aspirants out there, remember the tripartite struggle. It's more than just a chapter in your textbooks. It's a window into the forces that shaped early medieval India. Dive deep into those rulers' battles and cultural changes. Pay close attention to those sources we talked about.
Exactly. And for everyone else who wants to learn more, we'll be sure to include some additional resources in the show notes. You'll find links to books, websites, even museums with artifacts from this time period.
Remember history. It's not just about the past. It's about understanding how we got to where we are today. The tripartite struggle. It's just one piece of that puzzle.
Well said.
Yeah.
A huge thank you to our expert for walking us through this complex and fascinating period of Indian history.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more deep dives into history, culture, and beyond. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.